Good evening, friends. Today I will talk about geological time scale. This is about the history of the Earth. What were the events, the geological and biological events that took place from the beginning when the Earth was originated till now? This is the history of that. It's not about the human history or any other thing. So if we classify it, we can draw a scale like this. Say, this is the beginning of the Earth, 4.6 billion years ago. Earth originated along with the solar system. So this is the origin of the Earth. So what is the age of the Earth? 4.6 billion years. That is 460 crore years. Isn't it? And this time, this is the current 0 billion years. And this has been divided, this time has been divided into 4 broader intervals. Those are called eons. So the eons are, the first it has been divided into what is called eons. So let me write it here, eon, E-O-N-S, eons. There are 4 eons from 4.6 to 4 billion years. This is called Hadean. This is referred to as Hadean eon. Okay. Then the next one is from 4 billion years to 2.5 billion years. And this is referred to as Archean. And the third one is from 2.5 to 0.541 billion years, means 541 million years. You can also write like this, 541 million years. This time interval is called Proterozoic. So this is Proterozoic. This eon is called Proterozoic, and the current one, that is from 0.541 billion years or 541 billion years till now, is referred to as Phanerozoic. Okay, now the eons have been divided into eras. So what are those eras? In fact, in terms of biological evolution, if you see this Hadean, Archean, and Proterozoic, this period is together, they have been also referred to as pre-Cambrian. They are also called, this time period from Proterozoic to Hadean, this has also been called pre-Cambrian. That means this is the time before Cambrian. Cambrian is a period that falls under Phanerozoic. Phanerozoic eon, it is the last period of that. What is a period? Period comes after eras. So eons have been divided into eras. What are the eras? So eons have been divided into eras. What are those eras? We can skip the eras of Hadean, Archean, and Proterozoic for the purpose of simplicity. Because the most of the biological diversity evolution that took place was during this Phanerozoic. So if we divide the Phanerozoic into its eras, what are those eras? So let me elaborate it like this, because it will take space from here to say here. So these are the eras. What are those eras? The first one is, it started from 541 million years, and this is called, the first one is called, let me divide it like this. The first one is called Paleozoic. Somewhere you will see only E. AE is not there, only E is there. Paleozoic era, then Mesozoic era. And the last one, the current one, is Cenozoic era. Here also, in some book, you will find an O here, C-O-E-N-O. But in most of the recent books, they are writing C-E-N-O, Cenozoic era. Probably it is American and UK English, that kind of thing is this. So whatever the case may be, the Phanerozoic eon is divided into 3 eras. Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. These three eras, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic, are further divided into periods. So what are the periods? The periods are, let me do it like this. There are 6 periods in case of, in Paleozoic era. Paleozoic era is divided into 6 periods. What are those? The first one is the Cambrian. So this is what? Cambrian is the starting point of Paleozoic. Paleozoic is the starting point of Phanerozoic. So Cambrian is at the bottom of this Phanerozoic. And the time interval before that is together. That's why it is called Precambrian. This time before Cambrian is together called Precambrian. However, it can be divided into eons like this also. We will see what different geological as well as biological events took place during these eons. So Cambrian is the first period of Paleozoic. Then comes the Ordovician. Then Silurian. Then comes the Devonian. Then Carboniferous. And then last one is Permian. Okay, so these are the 6 periods of Paleozoic era. And Mesozoic era is divided into 3 periods. The first one is called the Triassic, double S or single S, it has to be checked. Then Jurassic, I think it will be single S. And then Cretaceous. So these are the 3 periods of Mesozoic era. From here, these are the 3 periods, and these are the 6 periods of Paleozoic era. These 3 are the periods of Mesozoic era. And the Cenozoic era is divided into 2 periods. The first one is called the Tertiary, and the current one is called the Quaternary. So these are the 2 periods of, so this is what is called, this is the era, these are the eras, and these are the periods. So this is how time has been divided: eons into eras, eras into periods, periods into epochs. The next one is epochs. Since there is no space here, I will rather wipe it out and then I will draw it again. Just the rest of the part, the remaining part I will draw. On this side rather I will draw. So let me wipe it out first. So as I mentioned that the eras have been divided into periods, and these are the periods: the Permian, Carboniferous, Devonian, Silurian, Ordovician, and Cambrian. These periods belong to Paleozoic era. So this is for Paleozoic era, Zoic, and from here to here this is for Mesozoic, and this is for Cenozoic. Okay, so these are the eras. Now the periods have further been divided. The periods have been divided into epochs. So I'm writing here the epochs. And I will write mainly the epochs of the Tertiary and Quaternary period. The rest of the lower one, they are simply divided into upper, middle, lower, lower, middle, upper, like this. But from Tertiary and Quaternary, the periods have been divided into epochs. What are those epochs? So the epochs are like this. The first one is Paleocene, Paleocene, Paleocene. Then the next one is Eocene, then Oligocene, then Miocene, then Pliocene. So these fall under the Tertiary period, these 5 of the eons, and then the 2 last ones are the Pleistocene and Hllocene. So Hllocene is the latest epoch. And then epochs are divided into ages, what is called ages. Ages are basically the time. So if we say that the Earth originated 4.6 billion years ago, then the Archean, the Hadean was from 4.6 to 4 billion years. So that time is called the age. The age of if we say that the Cambrian, this is 541 million years. So 500 ages, if you talk about the ages, it is 541 million years where from the Cambrian starts. And the Paleozoic, I'm not giving each of the ages because you will forget. The main ages I will provide. The end of the Paleozoic is Permian, which took place sometime during 262 million years ago, approximately. And then from there to Cretaceous, the Mesozoic era. The Mesozoic era ended at about 66 million years ago from now. That means 6.6 crore years from now, when the dinosaur become vanished from this globe. They were evolved into some other organism, maybe birds or maybe lizards or etc. That is another issue. So from 262 million to 66 million, this time zone is said to be the time zone for the Mesozoic era, for the periods Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. Okay, and the last one, if you say the Quaternary, 11,600 years from now is considered to be the beginning of Hllocene. So Hllocene is about 11,600 years from now, till now, is the Hllocene. This is said to be the current, the latest time, latest history of the Earth, latest time period of the Earth. That is referred to as the Hllocene epoch. So this is how the entire geological time scale is divided into. Now, in the next lecture, or it may be in the next phase, now we will see what are the events, geological or biological events that took place during these different eons or eras or periods. Most of the evolution, diversity of the evolution, biological evolution took place during this Cambrian to Quaternary. Okay, the diversification of the living beings started after Cambrian. There is in fact, if you talk about Proterozoic Eon and Phanerozoic Eon, there is a boundary. Proterozoic to Paleozoic boundary. That is very important. The time period for the Paleozoic to Proterozoic to Paleozoic boundary is very, very important. We will talk about that a little bit, what happened during this. And this time zone is considered to be about 750 million years to 541 million years. This time period, this time interval was very, very crucial with respect to the evolution of life forms, different life forms on the Earth. 4 glaciation period took place during this time. 4 glaciations followed by greenhouse effect. Ice house to greenhouse, 4 times took place during these days, during this time period, and the sea level, the ocean level, that was very much reduced. Much of the ocean water actually entered into the Earth's mantle during this period. Through the mid-oceanic ridges, the faults between the mid-oceanic ridges, MOR, the water from the seawater that dripped down, about 600-meter level of seawater actually percolated into the mantle. And that caused the mantle, the magma, the lava, the melting point of the lava, it decreased. as well as the viscosity also decreased, because of which what happened? A lot of pressure was again created on the earth crust. So these are the things that happened during Proterozoic, Paleozoic boundary. We will talk about that a little bit more detail in the next lecture. Up to this, you just know what are the different time intervals, how the geological time scale of 460 crore years has been divided into. And I will also tell you, let me tell you here, how can you remember this? The mnemonics to remember this. If I tell you the mnemonics to remember, eons you remember yourself, there are 4 eons only. Hadean, that is the hell-like situation, Hadean, then Archean, then Proterozoic, and then Paleozoic. For biology student of class 12 or even graduate student, they can call it Precambrian. They can easily call all of those Hadean, Archean, and Proterozoic. Instead of classifying like that, they can also call it Precambrian. Or they can remember it like that, up to that. And they don't need to elaborate the life forms that actually took place, that originated and then elaborate. Actually, those were the bacteria. Mostly those were the process started with archaebacteria, archaea, to eubacteria, then cyanobacteria, then diversification of marine alga, protozoa, porifera. These were the groups of animals that were prevalent during this entire Precambrian interval. So mnemonics for that I'm not providing. I'm providing the mnemonics for the eras, 4 eras. Precambrian, consider it as an era. Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, Cenozoic. PPMC. You can remember it in 2 ways. One way is a biological way. Pre-pollen mother cell. If you remember, pre-pollen mother cell. So what I said? Pre-pollen mother cell. P for Precambrian. You can also take the whole pre. P for Paleozoic, M for Mesozoic, C for Cenozoic. You can also, there are other mnemonic that is called please pay my children. Please pay my children. That is another. And most importantly, to remember these periods is a little bit difficult. So for that, the mnemonic is like this. Remember this. Cold oyster seldom develop many precious pearls. Their juices congeal too quickly. So if you remember this, the first letters, cold oysters seldom develop many precious pearls, their juices congeal too quickly. So the first, Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Mississippian, and Pennsylvanian. These are the 2 terminologies used for Carboniferous also. Carboniferous period has been divided into 2 sub-periods, Mississippian and Pennsylvanian. So those are many precious. This P is for Permian, T for Triassic, J for Jurassic, C for Cretaceous, T for Tertiary, Q for Quaternary. So this is how, by remembering this sentence, you can easily remember the order of the periods. Okay. And then comes the epochs. The epochs, you can remember the famous sentence is, it goes like this. PE Put egg on my plate, please help. Put on or place egg on my plate, please help. Okay. Put egg on my plate, please help. So this sentence, Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Pliocene, Pleistocene, Hllocene. So this mnemonic will help you to remember the epochs. The ages, to remember the ages, just remember the milestones from the very beginning. 4.6 to 4 is the Archean, 4 to 2.5, sorry, 4.6 to 4 is the Hadean, 4 to 2.5 is the Archean, for 2.5 to, that is billion years, 2.5 to 0.541 is the Proterozoic, and from there to 0 is the Phanerozoic. Now classify the Phanerozoic into eras. The eras give the boundary 541 million years or 0.541 billion years is the beginning of the Paleozoic. Then comes the beginning of the Mesozoic, that is about 262 million years. Then 66 million years is the beginning of the Cenozoic era. That's all. Only write these things as a for ages. Okay, so this is how you can classify the whole geological time scale. Now in the next video, I will tell you the different geological and biological events that took place during this different time intervals. Thank you very much for watching this.